Hello, everybody. We should be live. I apologize for my tardiness. We're about 35 minutes late. I posted a little update on Patreon letting everybody know that we would be running a little late. We were just doing some pre recordings for some videos that you're going to be seeing in the future. But as you can see in the description as well as the thumbnail, as soon as I get it up right here, right now, we are doing another tier list today where we're going to rank live the live action Disney movies, or at least the popular ones, because there's quite a number of them from the previous years that aren't on this list, but all the recent ones as well as the most popular ones like Mary Poppins and stuff like that are primarily the remakes. We're looking at all the live action remakes here with addition to popular titles like Mary Poppins and Mary Poppins Returns. So as soon as I get this set up here and while chat starts to fill up, welcome everybody joining us. If you don't know how these tier lists work, basically how they work is I'm going to put up a movie on the screen. And so you can see it, I will pull it up right now, and there it is. I'll be pulling movies up on the screen, and those are the movies that you guys are going to be rating. So based on a tier list system here of top tier A, B, C, D, and F, you're going to tell me in the live chat where you think that movie should fall. Where you think that movie belongs. And based on the consensus in chat, based on what chat says, that is where we are going to put the film. Now, there are occasions where chat is very divided and the answers are very different. So there's a lot of people saying different answers. Or maybe it's really close just between two answers. In the event of that, I will be posting straw polls in the chat that you can go to, access easily, and we can have a more decisive vote that way. But that's pretty much all there is to it. And let me go ahead and say real quick that these videos are brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, experts in helping you plan the vacation of your dreams. Visit them on the web, all that information and more in the description below. All right. And we can go ahead and pull up the first movie. The first movie being 101 Dalmatians. That is the first one we're going to be voting on. And yeah, I'm seeing some comments in chat. It looks like as of six minutes ago. So this just in. Disney Springs begins phased openings on May 20th. Wow. Just in, breaking news. And the votes are starting to flow in. So yeah, that's actually funny, guys. We actually, just before I went live here, we were recording a show on Disney Springs. And then that news came out just right now. Go figure. Sunbursts and cloud breaks. I appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. 101 Dalmatians is looking like a B. Right now it is looking like a solid B. So I can't zoom the actual web page and how we're looking at the full list without like making it kind of look janky, if you will. But I will be pulling up every title we're ranking and talking about in the big picture on the right. And it looks like our first title here is going in the B tier. I did enjoy 101 Dalmatians quite a bit. But now we have another one. 102 Dalmatians. What did we think about this live action sequel? And yeah, if you haven't seen it, that's okay. Um, right now, the rankings are starting to come in with lots of D's and F's or didn't see it. Right now, the number one said answer appears to be a D. So May 20th, huh? Wow. So in 2 weeks, we're going to start to see a phased opening at Disney Springs. All right, 102 Dalmatians is getting a D. It is getting a D. As I bring up the next one, which is I don't remember seeing for me. I don't remember seeing the live action remake of this. I remember the trailer, but I don't remember the live action movie. And don't get confused, none of these are the animated titles. These are the live action remakes or the live action movies. So The Jungle Book, the live action version of it. I don't remember this one. I don't remember this one. So for those of you in chat who do, where would you put it? Sunburst Cloud Break says it'll be interesting to see which stores will open specifically. Yeah, it really will be. See what opens and what holds off. See right here, I didn't really get a good chance to pan through this article because it literally just was posted. But I'll take a look real quick as the votes come in. A phased opening of Disney Springs will begin on May 20th, following the guidance of government and health officials. A limited number of shopping and dining experiences that are owned by third-party operating participants will begin to open during this initial phase. The rest of Walt Disney World Resort will remain closed, including the parks and resorts. So they're not specifically telling us what to expect to see open yet. They're just telling us that we will be having our phased opening on the 20th of May, so 13 days from now. And to expect some of those third-party vendors to be open. Which ones yet, we're not 100% sure. But some will for sure, definitely some. So The Jungle Book. Let's see. There's a lot of different votes here. Right now, the most said answer is B and A. As I catch up, it is A, with some top tiers. Definitely those 3 or 4 top tier votes are swaying it more into the A. And as I catch up, The Jungle Book, which I don't remember seeing, is getting an A. And if you guys can, while watching the stream, smash the thumbs up button for us. It helps a ton. And our next movie, a classic, is Mary Poppins. This is the original one. Mary Poppins. I know where I would put this, personally, for me. I know where I would put this. But yeah, that's really interesting news about Disney Springs. I wasn't I felt like we were going to hear something soon. But and there are the votes that I thought I was going to see. Mary Poppins, without a doubt, top tier. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't argue with those results right there. Why isn't Fiasco singing the day? If you guys missed the last stream we did, it was ranking the Disney songs, some of the most beloved Disney songs. And I did a little bit of a sing-along. I need to give my singing voice a rest, though. I'll bring it back out of the woodwork when you least expect it. I feel like it needs to come as a surprise. We're not going to travel too far with our ratings. Our next title is Mary Poppins Returns, which I'll admit, guys, I haven't fully watched. I know. I'm bad. I'm terrible. I'm awful. I haven't fully watched Mary Poppins Returns. It was something that I put on the background and was intending to watch, but then other things came up. And then I ended up having to, maybe 30 minutes into the movie, go do some other stuff. So I didn't get to finish it. So I cannot give it I can't personally give it a rating, obviously. But for those of you in chat that have seen this in its entirety, where should it go? All right, the ratings are coming in, and it's looking like a B. It is looking like a B. And that's where it's going to fall. There's a couple A's, couple D's, some C's, but the number one set answer for sure is B. So that is where Mary Poppins Returns is going to fall. Next up, we have Alice in Wonderland. Not to be confused with Through the Looking Glass. We'll get to that. Our next film is Alice in Wonderland. Now, this movie, I actually worked at the movie theaters when it came out. I worked at AMC Theaters in Braintree, Massachusetts. Over by the South Shore Plaza, for anybody who knows where that is. I worked there when this movie was released. And while I much prefer the animated version of this movie, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit in the live action category. I liked it more than I think most. or I liked it more than I think most people. People saying that people are voting multiple times. I do notice that. It happens almost every stream. And I take it into account. So if I see like someone's name multiple times, I'll kind of like filter it out of my head and not count it over and over again. Ooh, you know what? Jason says, can we do another one of these with the other live action movies? Pirates, Saving Mr. Banks. Yes. That's the next tier list. Usually I take the weekend to kind of stir on what I want to do next. But I want to do that next. Because I could have included those movies in here, but I didn't. And I think it's good that I didn't. Because I think that they rank up differently. I think they should be paired up differently. And we're going to do that one next. Pirates, Saving Mr. Banks, National Treasure, all that stuff. I love that idea. I love those movies. That's our next tier list. Good idea, Jason. Really good idea. But Alice is looking like another B. As I catch up to the rest of chat, it's the average answer now is a C. And I'm caught up. Alice gets a C. Gets a C, guys. And that is how sometimes the cookie crumbles. I liked the movie, but not a lot of people did. Not a lot of people did. And that's okay. Next up, we have the next version, Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, Tristan Brown says, breaking news, Disney Springs opening May 20th. Yes. Literally 2 minutes before I went live, that just happened. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And I was telling chat, for those of you that joined late, we were just before I went live here. The reason I was late going live is because we were recording an episode on Disney Springs. Funny how that happens. Now that all the votes have started to come in, I will say I didn't enjoy Through the Looking Glass as much as the original live action. Did not enjoy it as much. So I would agree with what I'm mostly seeing right now is D is the average answer, and I would agree with it being below the first one. I would say wherever the first one fell, which in our case here today, it fell in C, that this being a step below that would make a lot of sense. So right now, the average answers are C and D, but D just ahead of C. So, with that, Alice Through the Looking Glass is going in the D slot. So it looks like we have a little bit of a pattern here. You notice the live action originals, or the original live action remakes like 101 Dalmatians and Alice in Wonderland, ranked okay, a B, a C, but all of their sequels, the live action remake sequels, did poorly. Or at least less good than their originals. A little bit of a pattern. As we move on to Aladdin. That's a rhyme. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. Live action Aladdin, guys. What do you think? My cat's crying in the other room. He wants to come in here. Either he wants to come in here or he wants to go outside. And I don't think I'm going to let him do either, because if I let him come in here, he's going to want to walk all over my electronics, and then it's just not going to work out. So we have a large variety of different answers for Aladdin here. We have top tier A, B, C, D. We have every answer possible. So this is where we need some help from. I saw a comment in there that said Fiasco, the human computer. Almost. Almost, but not quite. We need a real computer to help us with this one. And I'm going to post a straw poll for you guys to help us get this indefinite answer. Okay. Here it comes, chat. Here is the straw poll. Sent that link twice. Go ahead, click that link, and it's going to bring you to the poll, and you're going to vote on where you want Aladdin to go. The results in chat are just too close to call. We need a defined answer. I'm going to go ahead and refresh it. We have 40 votes in right now with the first answer, the top answer being B. That's with 35% of the vote. With 25% of the vote, we have top tier. Also with 25% of the vote, we have A. I'm going to give it 10 more seconds to get your votes in. Looking at the results now, we have 16 votes for B, 14 votes for top tier, and 12 votes for A. Now, while the most said answer is B, there's also almost enough top tiers to make that the most said answer. So with that being said, I'm going to say that they kind of narrow each other out into an average of A. Because it's such a clean... Oh, well, yeah, and I just refreshed the page again, and top tier is now tied with B. Top tier is now tied with B for the number one answer, so I'm going to say that definitely answers that question, and it's going to be A. So there it goes. Aladdin gets an A. And that brings us to our next film. Cinderella. I know I've seen this one. I just kind of don't remember it. I know I've seen this one. I just kind of don't remember it. Votes are starting to come in. The Disney Springs news really caught me off guard. Just out of curiosity, chat, are any of you planning on going on the 20th? Who's in the bandwagon of that you're going as soon as it opens, and who's in the bandwagon of you might wait a little while? I'm a little curious. Okay, with all these mixed results, we need another straw poll. We need another straw poll. Because there are votes for top tier. There's votes for A. There's even votes for F. So with that, I just cannot make an accurate judgment. And I can't make an accurate divide, too, especially because I don't really remember the movie. So I can't really agree or disagree in any way. Let's create that poll. Here it comes, everybody. All right, sending 2 links. Go ahead and vote on where you think Cinderella should fall. Annalise says, what's happening on the 20th? Well, we just got breaking news about 28 minutes ago that Disney Springs will start its phased opening on the 20th. So on the 20th, you'll actually be able to go back into Disney Springs. We got reports last week that employees were starting to trickle in, and they had opened up one of the garages for them to come in. Let me go ahead and refresh this. Right now, the number 1 said answer is B. But also, we have the same dilemma we had with Aladdin, where B, top tier, and A are all very close. So I would be, that would encourage me to put it in the A category and balance that average there. Aladdin ended with 53 votes. This has 50 votes. So I think I'm good to close that out and give Cinderella an A. Balance the average of B and top tier. It's an A. It is an A. So our list is starting to flesh out right now, guys. And we are looking at our top tier being the one and only Mary Poppins. Our A-listers being Aladdin, The Jungle Book, and Cinderella. B being 101 Dalmatians and Mary Poppins Returns. C being Alice in Wonderland. And our D being Through the Looking Glass and 102 Dalmatians. As we move on to our next movie, and that is Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. And not to be confused if you guys are coming in late with any of the animated features. We already did all the animated movies. These are strictly live action. Strictly live action. I think we're going to have another divide on this. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare this poll now before I even see all the votes coming in, because I have a feeling. I just have a feeling we'll have a divide. Maybe not. I think, to be honest, that's enough top tiers to convince me to put it there. But you know what? It's still too divided. I have to put the poll out. Okay. I am posting a poll for Beauty and the Beast as well. Here it comes. Go ahead and vote on where you think Beauty and the Beast should fall. Another divided answer. It was leaning towards top tier, but I want to be sure because there's a lot of different answers. All right. With 42 votes right now, we have Top Tier being number one with half the votes. That's good enough for me. Half the votes, okay. And we already have 50 votes in. Top Tier it is. Beauty and the Beast coming in with 42% of the vote as Top Tier. Since I refreshed, it's balanced out more, with 37.5% saying Top Tier, 28% saying A, and then it goes down from there, B, C, D, F, in that order. So yeah, Top Tier it is. I mean, that's more than enough votes to give it the Top Tier ranking. So there's our second Top Tier contender. Next, we have Maleficent. Maleficent. Where do we think this movie belongs? About a villain, a beloved villain. As the votes start to trickle in, I'm about to give my opinion. I love this movie. I love when they make a villain so relatable that, like, you start rooting for it. You start rooting for that villain. I think it's just the best. And Maleficent does that. I actually, we're going to rate the new Maleficent next. This is the original one. I haven't seen the new one. But the original Maleficent movie is good to me. I liked it a lot. Looking at the votes here. The most said answer is A. A, B. So the most said answers are Top Tier, A, and B. And the most said answer still remains A. So even if I were to take those three most said answers and average them out, I would come to A anyways. So I think it's easy to say that this falls into the A category. So there it goes. Another A-lister. But now we have to rate the sequel. We have to rate the sequel. And we're rating the Maleficent sequel, Mistress of Evil. So again, haven't seen it. I wanted to see it. I made attempts to see it, but sometimes you just get pulled away from the movie and you have to do other things. And this is another situation of that. Haven't been able to sit through it yet. So chat, where do we think Mistress of Evil should fall? The original Maleficent fell into the A tier, just shy of getting Top Tier. As the votes come in, the most said answer right now is B, with the second most said answer being D. And C is also a contender as well. So with that, it's looking like it's going to be a C. Right now, B and D are tied, with C being the follow-up answer. So I'm going to say B, that evens it out, and it will fall in the C tier. Using the same logic we used for the other tiebreakers. We're going to give it a C. And next up is Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin is up next. Now, I got a comment here from Richard Davis. You need to assign us homework so we can watch before voting. And I really haven't been doing that the past few weeks, but this week I will do that. I will let you know right now. Next week's tier list will be more live action movies, which was a suggestion from Jason. We're going to do the live action movies that weren't in this one, to include all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, all of the National Treasure movies. We'll throw Indiana Jones in there. I think we can throw Indiana Jones in there. That'd be fun. But we're going to do, let's call it Adventure IP. We're going to do the Adventure IP. So think of, National Treasure, Pirates of the Caribbean, all those movies, Indiana Jones. We're going to do those next week. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Once I get all the titles together, I will post it on Patreon. And I'll try to get it out earlier than I normally get it out. All right. So Christopher Robin is looking like it's either top tier or A. Catching up with chat right now. Right now, the most said answer is A. The second most said answer is top tier. And the third most said answer is B. But I'm having trouble figuring out if there's enough top tiers to push it over. So, straw poll it is. Poll coming to you guys hot off the stove. There it is. Straw poll for you guys to vote on Christopher Robin. Where is it going to fall? Marvel movies, Star Wars, yeah. We got to do those two. We got to do those two. I'm wondering if I should put Star Wars with other stuff, or it should probably be its own thing, right? Should probably be its own thing. All right, we got A with 38% of the vote right now. And I think that's where it's going to end up falling as I refresh a few more times. Close that in about 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, I'm going to close out the votes. Julia says, what about all the older live action movies like Swiss Family Robinson, 20,000 Leagues, Herbie, Parent Trap? Definitely something that we can do as well. Most definitely. All right. Last refresh. It's an A. With 35.71% of the vote, it is in A. So Christopher Robin, another A-lister. Next up, we have the live-action remake of The Lion King. Not to be confused with the animated version. This is the live-action version. What do we think, chat? McKenna Waters says, The Mandalorian behind-the-scenes show on Disney Plus is so good, guys. I haven't got the chance to watch it yet. I was going to watch it on May the 4th, but didn't end up watching it. But it's on my to-do list. Right now, the most said answer for the Lion King remake is a C. But the votes, again, are so divided, I need to go to straw poll. All right. Everybody, here it comes. Go ahead and input your votes for Lion King on this poll. And I'll just give it a second for those to come through. What I will say is I had this movie on the other night, and my cats loved it. They were watching it, and it was so cute. They were just sitting there, perched on the couch, just completely tuned in to what was going on. All right, but with 50 votes basically in right now, C is the answer. I probably didn't even need the straw poll. I probably could have just gone with what I was seeing in chat. Because, yeah, the majority vote is undoubtedly C. So, there it goes. C. Next up, Dumbo. I'm really curious to see where this falls. Yeah, this was a good, I agree with Steven here. Animated is top tier, without a doubt. Animated version of The Lion King. One of the best animated movies of all time. Live action was passable, but unnecessary. Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. And Dumbo. Okay, now that the Dumbo votes are coming in, I'm going to say I actually loved this movie. I loved the live action Dumbo, and I also have failed to mention at this point that I am not even a huge fan of live action Disney movies, especially the live action remakes. When I turn to Disney, their movies, I really like their animated films the most. But as far as live action movies go, I'm usually never really looking forward to them. And I do look at it in the frame of mind of it kind of feels money grabby when they just continuously remake their popular animated titles. And I don't love it. I don't. So with that out of the way, the live action remakes aren't my thing. I liked Dumbo. I really did. But now looking at chat here, it doesn't seem like many of you liked Dumbo. The most said answer being D. D for Dumbo. But there also being quite a number of B's in C's. Looking at that spread, being B, C, D, all being very close together, I think it's obvious here that Dumbo is averaging at a C. Dumbo is obviously averaging at a C, so there he goes. Personally, one of my favorite live-action remakes. Not that that's saying a ton, because again, I'm not a huge fan of the live-action remakes. But it did make me tear up a little bit. It really did. Made me get a little emotional, this movie. It really did. But next up is our Disney Plus exclusive and our final film for the night. Lady and the Tramp. This is a Disney Plus exclusive. You can let that sway your votes in whatever way you think fair. Disney doesn't grab our money. What does it say? Yeah. I think that's a fair statement. I think that's exactly what it does. Disney doesn't grab our money. It kind of just flows from my account into theirs, naturally. Like the circle of life. It's like the circle of our dollars. Yeah. Beautifully said. So Lady and the Tramp here. I think our last film is going to need a straw poll because there's many votes for many different things, which makes it hard to give a fair judgment. So everybody, here it comes. We're voting on Lady and the Tramp. Just sent those links in the chat. And I want to know where this Netflix, or not Netflix, but Disney Plus original film should fall. 14 votes in right now. 20 votes. Give it to at least about 40 votes before we call it in. Janet says, why are there always two links? So the chat that you see on your end on YouTube isn't the same chat that I see. Generally, there's a delay between the comments coming through, and when they come through on my end, they usually all come through in like a big bushel of comments. So to be sure that the links are going through, I send it twice just in case on your end too, maybe comments are going fast as well. So just to be sure everybody gets it easily, I send it twice. But it's always it all goes to the same poll. And we will revote Aladdin based on that request. People are asking for Aladdin. So Lady and the Tramp looks like it is going to be a C with 40% of the vote going to C. So there it goes. And with that, we're going to do our revote request. And that request is for Aladdin. I've seen a number of people ask. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Because sometimes we do these revotes, guys. Because as the list kind of fleshes itself out, people start to realize, well, if that movie's here, then, this movie should really be there. In some of the early votings, you don't really realize that yet. So I think it's only fair to do revotes every once in a while. So here we go, guys. We are revoting Aladdin. We're revoting Aladdin. I sent those links in chat. Go ahead and vote on the straw poll. 30 votes in right now. Gonna wait till at least we have 40. All right, closing out the poll in 10 seconds. And final results are top tier. With 47.73% of the vote, it gets top tier A, trailing behind at 34%. So with that, Aladdin moves up. And that, guys, is our live action Disney movie tier list, which looks as follows. Our top tier being... Sorry, couldn't see what that was for a second. Our top tier being Beauty and the Beast, Mary Poppins, the original, and Aladdin. Our A-listers being Jungle Book, Cinderella, Maleficent, the original, and Christopher Robin. Our B tier having 101 Dalmatians and Mary Poppins Returns. Our C-listers being Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Lion King, Dumbo, and Lady and the Tramp, and our D-listers being Through the Looking Glass and 102 Dalmatians. That is our live-action tier list, but don't fret if your live-action favorites were not in this list, because we are doing another live-action list next week to include all the Pirates of the Caribbean titles, National Treasure titles, Indiana Jones, and many, many more, as suggested by Jason in chat. Thank you, Jason. I thought that was an absolute fantastic idea. So fantastic that I'm deciding right now that's what's coming up next. So look forward to seeing you all in the next tier list, where we're going to be deciding that. Another batch of live-action films. Ones that, honestly, I'm more of a fan of than the ones we rated today. Love Pirates, love Indiana Jones, love National Treasure, so that should be a lot of fun. And if you're looking forward to next week's stream, maybe head over to Disney Plus and start catching up on any movies that you might have missed, like from those series, in anticipation for ranking them. But as always, guys, thank you so much for joining in the chat today and hanging out and giving in your votes. It was a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. If you want to see any of the episodes we previously recorded, you can check out our playlist. There's a playlist called Tier Lists, where you can find all the episodes that we've done prior to today. And really look forward to seeing you all in next week's list. So until then, see ya.